Hello, everyone. This is Anthony, and this is Book Talk at Book Place. And as always, we get to hear an author talk about his or her book. And today we have an important, a great guest with us who is known as David Citron. And David Citron is right here with us. He's going to tell us about his book and about anything that pertains to his writing. And I believe it's going to be an interesting time. So, hi, David. How are you?
Hi, how are you, sir? How
Yeah,
are you, Anthony?
yeah, I'm fine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Okay, so you've written a book, and we'll go right into it. It's called Out of Business, Moran. Can you tell us a bit about this book that you've written?
Sure. So basically, the central character, his name is Caleb Hanau, and I like anagrams a lot. So, in many ways, I thought about Caleb being a central unifying universal character. Hanau is a fort in Germany, and Caleb, spelled differently, could be cable.
Okay,
So in many ways, I try and talk about in a semi-autobiographical book,
yeah.
memoir, the rise of a young man named Caleb Hanau, his initial meeting of love for the first time, then separating and falling into different worlds, whether it be education in New York, Wall Street, in investment banking, for
Oh,
media and telecom, or ultimately the music industry. So a lot of it is fictional. Some of it is actually truth. And it's about his journey, through different areas of his life, being raised Jewish, but then searching for other meaning to a certain extent, and looking like kind of like a Siddhartha to a certain extent, although I wouldn't say that I'm at that level yet.
yeah.
But really, a dictation of pain, suffering, and ultimately finding harmony in music.
Oh, that's wonderful. So when you say semi-autobiography, that's exactly what you mean. Some of it is truth, some of it is what you've gone through, and some of it is just added to add a flavor to the book.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's a journey that you've been through and you've put it forth to us. Thank you very much for putting it forth to us. So, as I get it, your book is talking something to do with hope in life. If I'm not wrong.
Absolutely. That there's always a guiding light. There's always some sort of hope. There's always an end and a meaning,
Yeah.
a beginning, an intermediary process, or an intermediate process, and
Okay.
then finally an end result.
Oh, wonderful.
Um,
Mhm.
so, Caleb goes through music class and, participates with all different types of characters. He goes through his own coaches. He goes through his own mentors,
Okay.
seeks different educational meanings and reasonings behind life. And, I think that in terms of being a great, um, you know, uh, reading material, that this book offers an exceptional understanding of, what it means to be kind of a maverick in the world of media, entertainment, and finance.
Ah, wonderful.
Um,
Mhm.
so, you know, um, I think it applies to a lot of different people. I think it's a global experience. I
Yes.
know that you're in Greece now, and you had also written your own book, if I'm not mistaken. I think, what is it? Be good for good, right?
Exactly. That's the book I've written is being good. It's just encouraging someone to be the best version of themselves and face life positively.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about overcoming obstacles. And I think that I think you incorporate numerous stories, right?
Yeah, sure. I incorporate a lot of stories that teach lessons on life through the experiences that I may have gone through or some other people have gone through.
Right. So my book
Mm-hmm.
is written kind of like a business plan. So it starts off with risk factors, begins with chapter 1, which is dopamine. And
Okay.
dopamine is one of the neurotransmitters in the brain.
Yeah.
So kind of like left brain, right brain type of thought process.
Okay.
Ending with clearance
Yeah.
and going on to reflections and
Yeah.
then an annual report.
Uh-huh.
So it also has a business plan, which was developed at the time that I was a student at New York University,
Okay.
which was basically dealing with retailers in music.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Goody, as a matter of fact, which, was part of a bigger conglomerate and ultimately became FYE, For Your Entertainment.
Yeah.
And I was basically dealing with interviews of store owners one by one and what their thought process was in terms of new generations of sales.
Okay.
Currently, I work in healthcare, so I understand what it means to be out there
Yeah.
working as a salesperson, going from door to door, or as an office manager, managing different patients, and realizing that each person is different and has a different perspective.
Okay.
And although they're adhering to a corporate umbrella, each area, each neighborhood has its own theories and methods for doing things.
Yeah, sure.
So it was called 1-800-GOODIES, 1-800-GOODIES, because it was
Okay.
Sam Goody, 1-800-GOODIES.
Yeah.
It's the 14th chapter, and it was, basically adapted to a certain extent, probably coincidentally, by some people that had done something called Cosmo.com, which was a neighborhood delivery service on bicycles in New York,
Okay.
bringing music and ice cream and everything else to your doorstep.
Okay.
Another business called Urban Fetch did the exact same thing,
Yeah.
only they weren't working with the retailers. And then in 1996, Amazon came out,
Yeah.
which had no retail stores whatsoever. It was just basically kind of a shipping logistics delivery process for
Mm-hmm.
music.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that in December of this past year, 2020, I had released my book in October of 2020.
Okay.
Google Music had basically shifted and gone out of business as well, and gone into YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
YouTube
Mm-hmm.
allows you to stream any music video or any artist, for free.
Okay. Yeah,
And I
sure.
think now,
Mm-hmm.
if you get a song, you can basically get an entire, collection of the greatest hits of, let's say, Asia, for instance,
Yeah.
or Def Leppard, or whatever, Kiss, or the Rolling Stones for $9.99, or the best song for $1.29.
Mm-hmm.
So, once that goes into fruition and the sale is made, the amount of money that the actual artist receives, or the manager,
Yeah.
or the promotions team, is absolutely at the bare minimum.
Yeah, sure.
And I find that music in many instances is the greatest healer of all, more so than any medication, more so than any, familial experience, more so than going out to the club,
Mm-hmm.
and now that we've had COVID, it put a strain on a lot of the different relationships that exist, whether it be performance, mechanical, or synchronization in terms of the revenues that go part of a 10K or a 10Q for a big four music company.
Yeah.
A lot of the strain was there because people weren't going out anymore. People
Mm-hmm.
weren't going to see their favorite artists.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, a lot of it is a statement about the music industry, and how mental health and physical health and relationship health, and meeting new people and meeting new mentors, meeting guiding forces, are all intertwined in terms of being able to bring out the best in someone.
Oh, that's great.
Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so I mean, that's kind of the way that I felt about writing the book. It's about 392 pages.
Okay.
And I've gotten to see a lot of the ways that people promote books, and I think that doing an interview like this is probably essential,
Yeah.
to be able to communicate with a fellow author.
Yeah, sure.
And I like that,
Yeah.
community.
And then here we are, and we are talking to people even through phone, through video, and both work together, and they bring out the message.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the book is Out of Business, Moran. What is? Can you tell us what is Moran? And I mean, how does the word come there?
Sure. Moran is a little bit like kind of like there's a movie that Joel Schumacher had put together back in the 80s called St. Elmo's Fire,
Okay.
which was a bar that everyone had gone to and had grown up around. But this was a bar that was centrally located in the World Financial Center,
Okay.
where everyone who worked on Wall Street, it was like the central bar, the main place to go.
Yeah.
Or like in Los Angeles, they had one restaurant where all the talent agencies would go,
Mm-hmm.
Kate Mantellini. So it was called Edward Moran's.
Okay.
So I had called it Moran, but in many instances, Caleb Hanau being from Fort, they ask you sometimes, what is your MOS, right?
Okay.
So MO, like modus operandi, ran.
Yeah.
And in many, you're from Kenya, but 26.2 miles is a marathon. So many instances I find that music helps in terms of getting that best exercise, which is running.
Oh, yeah.
It's an exercise kind of like writing where you're by yourself. You're on a marathon. You're jogging, you're running, you're expediting energy.
Mm-hmm.
You're on a treadmill, but I prefer actually running great distances, through countryside, through cross country, mountains, beaches, being around nature and then pushing yourself in terms of elevating your heart rate, rhythm, momentum, and enthusiasm.
Oh.
So Moran, I just like the name Moran, and in many ways, if you take that as an anagram, would be Roman. So if you take an anagram is basically when you take the letters of a word like listen,
yes,
and silent.
Okay, yeah.
Listen and silent.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so it's many ways yeah.
Yeah, so we get that. And writing, now that you're an author, writing, and you mentioned about marathon, I understand that writing is just like a marathon. It's something that you continue doing. I mean, but it's not a one-time thing. It's something that you run and run and run, long distance, many days, many months. So how long did it take you to write this book?
It took on and off because I was writing it on and off. I would say all together, several months.
Okay.
But I didn't release it until many years later. And the reason was because COVID had come out, things had changed. I noticed a lot of things were different.
Yeah.
My father had passed. So, I just felt the need to connect and express myself. So I did.
Okay.
So I waited some time.
Yeah.
I had been represented in LA by an entertainment attorney and, worked in music for a little while on different levels and thought that it would be great to finally just release my book.
Oh, and that's very good. Thank you for releasing the book. And it's been a very wonderful thing having you on our show. And we ask everyone to go on Amazon. Your book is on Amazon, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So, or where else can we get the book?
I'm sorry?
Or where else can we get the book apart from Amazon?
Well, they have certain rules, I guess, in terms of when you publish through Amazon, that it's an exclusive with Amazon. So at this time, unless they change it, it will be available on Amazon.
Okay, so it's on Amazon.com. Out of Business, Moran by David Citron. Thank you very much. We are very honored to have you on our show, and we wish you great success on the book. And to the viewers and listeners, go and get the book and read it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony, and to your health. Thank you very much, and good to speak with you.
Good to speak to you too, and have a great time.